Am I the a-hole for hiding the location of my best friend from my wife? About 5 years ago, I moved about 15 hours away from my hometown for a job. Shortly after moving, I met my now wife Becca. A few years ago, I had a buddy JR from back home come stay with me. While here, he met my wife's sister Maggie. JR and Maggie hit it off. They pretty quickly started dating. Maggie has a daughter from a previous relationship. The daughter's dad is very much in the picture. Almost a year ago, Maggie and JR moved in together. At the time, Maggie was living with her parents because she could not afford rent on her own. Things seemed to be going well. It is a long story, but almost 2 months ago, JR got pretty irrefutable proof that Maggie was cheating on him. He was angry, depressed, and overall distraught. He could not deal with confronting her, but he also could not deal with living with her. He talked to me and wanted my help to get away. So, I reached out to my network of people who are not mutual friends of Becca and me to get him a place to stay. Becca, Maggie, Maggie's daughter, and my mother-in-law were going out of town to visit mother-in-law's mom a few weeks after he found out. I had a work friend with a rental house. I helped JR pack his stuff, which was like 90% of the apartment, and he moved out. He sent an email to Maggie about why he moved out. He left a check for rent and utilities through the end of March when their lease is up and informed the landlord that he was not renewing. Maggie got the email and called JR numerous times while on a trip. My wife called me and asked what was going on and where JR was. I told her that JR moved out and he was safe, but I would not tell her where he is. They got back and Maggie flipped about all the stuff JR took. My wife was quite angry and demanded to know where JR was. I kept telling her that he is safe, but I'm not telling her where he is. The last month has been tense, and my wife has begged and made threats to know where JR is. She has even tried using my phone to impersonate me to call JR and get information. I have since changed my passcode. She says, "We are married. This is affecting my family. I deserve to know." I refuse. She has even talked about this being divorce-worthy. Am I the a-hole? Edit. 1. My wife knows JR left. 2. Maggie has admitted since he left that she was cheating. 3. My wife denies knowing about the cheating, and I do believe her. Historically, Maggie and Becca are not close. Prior to JR moving here, we would see Maggie maybe once every 3-ish months. Since JR moved, we see her a lot more because JR and I regularly organized get-togethers, which is why my wife's reaction is surprising to me. 4. The stuff JR took was only his stuff. In fact, a lot of stuff he left is also his. Other than gadgets, he left all the kitchen stuff, despite it being 100% his. He left all the stuff in my niece's room, even though he paid for a lot of it. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Maggie has made her bed, and she can lie in it, at least until the eviction notice rolls around. The fact that your wife has a bigger problem with JR leaving Maggie than she does with her sister cheating on JR says an awful lot about your wife. And as a woman myself, it doesn't say anything good. If your wife chooses to implode your marriage because her sister is a cheater, that is on her. You don't owe Maggie anything. My money is on the wife knowing about the cheating the entire time. And she sounds like the type who believes they can bully people into giving them what she wants so that the situation is fixed in her mind. OP is in for a wild ride on this one. My response is to be an ear for them or to help them move, but never ever do I help a friend keep secrets and do things sneakily. Come on, either you are an idiot or you knew there was going to be blowback here. You used poor judgment when you decided, not just to offer sympathy, but you are the one who went seeking a new place for him to live. For Pete's sake, dude, that's his job. Glad I have better friends than you. I did nothing for JR that he would not have done for me in a heartbeat in the same situation. Heck, he probably would have paid first and last month's rent on the new place. If I stacked up what JR has done for me versus what I have done for him, I am still hella behind. The principle of reciprocity alone would dictate that I probably didn't do enough. Glad I have better friends than you. Do you mean like your wife? I'll take being loyal to my marriage over all others any day. You know, like I promised on my wedding day. It doesn't matter what two people have done for each other here. You could have helped without contributing to more secrets. End of it. Why did you post for opinions if you just want to insult people who give you honest answers? You are allowed to give your honest opinion, but I am also allowed to give my honest opinion on what you said. And your view of what constitutes crossing the line makes no sense and is not how human friendships work. My wife has literally co-signed on an apartment to help a friend leave a bad marriage. She did it without thinking or talking to me. According to you, that crosses a line and is grounds for divorce? That is insane. Being married isn't some trump card to any and everything you do for a friend. I promised fidelity to my wife, and what I did for JR in no way violates that principle of fidelity. Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling our wedding due to his son and ex-wife's behavior? I'm 33 female. My fiancé is 35 male, and we've been together for 3 years. He has been divorced for 5 years and has an 8-year-old son with his ex-wife, who is currently single. Since I love him dearly like no one before, I have tried to love his son and family with my whole heart. When we started our relationship, his ex-wife was in a relationship with somebody, but along the way they broke up. Since then, my relationship with my fiancé started to crumble. His ex-wife attempts to do all she can to get my fiancé's attention, even to the extent of using their son against me. His son liked me at first, but he started treating me differently, calling me fake mom, saying he didn't want us to have a baby, and asking his dad all the time if he loves him more than me. He started disrespecting me, not listening to what I say, and instead asks his dad. At his age, he still wants to sleep in our bed. He can't sleep by himself, and when asked to sleep in his own bed, he cries and asks us to call his mom at night. He doesn't want me holding his dad's hand. Every time my fiancé and I are talking, he intentionally disrupts us and starts calling for his dad's attention. When he's not noticed quickly, he complains that his dad only listens to me, when, in reality, we haven't even had a chance to talk all day because the child literally talks non-stop. Believe me when I say non-stop, he has ADHD. By the way, his son stays with us only on weekends. I love my fiancé more than myself and have been trying to understand him. He always says he's just a child, but I am losing my mind now. We are engaged and planning our wedding, but can I really live like this? Every time his son is around, he talks about his mom. I am worried that I won't have peace of mind when I marry him one day because of his ex-wife and son. Is it worth it to marry him and put up with all of this? You're not the a-hole for questioning whether you should do this. It sounds like you and your fiancé need to sit down and figure out how this will work as partners. Is he willing to stop his son from calling you fake mom? How will he talk to his son about your plans to have a baby? How does your fiancé react when his ex tries to insert herself? His ex isn't the issue here. The issue is what your fiancé will put up with, how he will stand up for you and prioritize your family unit. This includes his son. And how he will support you in sticking to established boundaries. If he's brushing off your feelings about any of this and won't commit to working through it together, then this isn't the right relationship for you. We talked about it. He is trying his best to stop his son from disrespecting me, but at the same time, he doesn't want his son to think that he loves me more than him, or that I am more important than him. Every time his son is around, he has something to say against me or something that would annoy me when his dad is not around. I have never treated him badly. I have always been good to him and treated him like my own son. My fiancé normally says, "It will be okay. He'll learn one day." He doesn't know what he's saying, or he doesn't mean it. Every time it happens, I just pretend I haven't heard anything, but deep inside, it really hurts. I love my fiancé, and I want him to be my husband, but his effort is not enough. I understand he is torn between me and his son. The only person you should love more than yourself is your child. Grown men who refuse to protect you? Not so much. You're not the a-hole here. Your mental health is your primary concern. It doesn't make you a bad person for protecting your mental health from a hateful child egged on by his messed up mom. You're signing on to a lifetime of hatred, and his son hasn't even reached the a-hole teen years. Can you imagine looking back at this time with sentimental fondness, remembering when things were only awful and not a living hell of continual shouting? Take care of yourself and don't let the wedding planning continue. You know what you have to do. OP, you should also hide your birth control where only you know where it is. Now is not the time to get pregnant by accident or be baby trapped. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my promotion for my husband? I've worked my butt off for years at my company. Late nights, extra projects, proving myself over and over. Finally, it paid off. I was offered a huge promotion with a significant raise and the chance to move up in my field. It was everything I had been working toward. When I told my husband, I expected him to be happy for me. Instead, his first reaction was, "But what about us?" The promotion came with longer hours and some travel, but nothing extreme. I explained that, yes, things might shift a bit at home, but we could adjust. It wasn't like I was moving across the country, just taking on more responsibility. He wasn't convinced. He started making comments like, "Do you really need a bigger job?" And, "I thought we wanted to focus on starting a family soon." His tone shifted from concern to guilt-tripping. He even brought up how his dad always provided while his mom stayed home, how their marriage worked because they had clear roles. I reminded him that I wasn't quitting my job when we got married. He knew I was ambitious. He knew this was my goal. He swore he supported me, but now that it was real, he was acting like I had betrayed him. Then he dropped the bombshell. "If you really loved me, you'd turn it down. This isn't just about you." That's when I realized it wasn't about us. It was about control. He expected me to shrink myself for the sake of his comfort. I took the job. Now he barely looks at me. The once supportive man I married has been replaced by someone who sees me as the villain in his story. His family whispers that I put money over marriage. The silence at home is deafening, the space between us growing wider by the day. Am I the a-hole for choosing my future over a marriage that suddenly came with conditions? Or did I just finally see the truth? He never wanted a wife, just someone willing to live in his shadow. Not the a-hole, and set him free to find his fantasy woman. He only wanted you to break your spirit. Let him find a trad wife who'll ride him for not being a provider and hound him endlessly to work more and make more money, even if it makes him miserable. Agreed. Never shrink yourself for any man. Your partner is supposed to be supportive of your dreams and goals, not try to make you less than who you want to be. If it was the reverse, if he got a long worked for promotion, how would everyone act? You already know the answer. He and others are showing you their misogyny, and he's showing you the real him and a taste of things to come if you had kids. The misogynistic trad wife guy expects the woman to forget her goals in life and cater to him and his offspring, and that's it. History is full of women reminiscing about what they could have been or achieved in life if they hadn't married. Yup, he really used the manipulation tactic, saying if you love me, you won't be successful. Suggest he become a stay-at-home dad if he wants to start a family. See how he reacts to that. You get your answer with his reaction. I tried this one. Got a promotion when my youngest was 2. Brought me up to earning parity with my spouse. It was a 50% pay raise for me, and actually felt like more as I'd been part-time and was going up to full-time. Note that I'd already turned down a job based on very legitimate travel with a young family concerns. I got all the same BS as OP describes, lots of guilt and sulking. But he was always on about how stressful his job was, how hard he worked, how it was also hard, how he couldn't go back to uni and get a qualification because he had to work so hard. So before all that, the very first thing I did on being offered the job was tell him that now he could go part-time for a bit, or change direction, or go back to uni, whatever. Suddenly, we were in a position where we had options. He told me outright that I'd upset him by daring to suggest he wasn't man enough to work full-time. In hindsight, we'd been on the rocks for a while, but this was the point at which I knew we would eventually separate. The later nonsense only confirmed it. I eventually figured out that what he wanted was someone who looked like they had a career, but never had any of the inconvenient bits, like, a full-time job. Similarly, he wanted a family without having to do the bits like take time off with sick kids, and a wife who could make interesting conversation but never outshone his achievements. Being the primary earner gave him excuses for all of that toxicity, disguised as support. As soon as I wasn't dependent, he had nowhere to hide, and it all unraveled. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling off my wedding after my fiancé bought a house with his mom? Okay, so me, 28 female, and my fiancé, 30 male, have been together for 5 years. We were planning our wedding for this fall and had been talking for years about our future, like kids, finances, and buying a house together. We had a whole plan to save up, find something we both loved, and make it our home. This was talked about a lot. Well, turns out he already bought a house, but not with me, with his mom. And he didn't even tell me he was looking. Apparently, she found the perfect place and convinced him to split it with her because she didn't want to rent anymore. So now, instead of us planning our future together, he's financially tied to his mother, who's going to be living there full-time. I just stared at him like, what the heck? And when I ask where I fit into all this, he goes, oh, well, you can move in too, of course. Like I'm supposed to be thrilled to live in a house his mom picked out, partially owns, and is just there all the time. He also admitted he did it because I was taking too long to save, and his mom offered him a faster way to own something. I was so shocked and angry, I told him I needed space. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I can't marry someone who thinks this is normal. So I called off the wedding. And now his whole family is saying I'm being dramatic, that it's just a house, and that I'm overreacting because we can still live together. Even my own parents are saying canceling the whole wedding is extreme. Like, am I losing my mind? Am I the a-hole, or is this a giant red flag? Not the a-hole. He didn't tell you, he didn't include you, and he just expects you to live with his mom. You're an afterthought. Agree. The kick in the teeth is that he made sure to take care of himself in terms of big-ticket assets, leaving OP exposed if they should ever split. And this idea of a 30-year-old being okay living with mom for the rest of his life, OP is right to bounce. Mom probably is and will continue to be the beneficiary of his life insurance to protect the house. Fiancé is already married to his mother, for life. Glad OP found out sooner rather than later. Yeah, I should have seen this coming when his mom cuts up his steak for him. I'm just so devastated that he would take it this far. I don't even know what to do. He didn't just buy a house. He built a whole future with his mommy and left you out of it. That's not a mistake. It's a conscious decision to prioritize her over you. And the fact that he thought you'd just move in like a guest in a home his mother controls? Disrespectful as heck. This isn't just a red flag. It's a parade of them. If you marry him, you're not getting a husband. You're signing up to be the third wheel in his codependent mommy-son fantasy. He's already made his choice, and it wasn't you. So do yourself a favor. Pack your bags, block his family, and go find a man who actually sees you as his future, not a tenant in mommy's house. Couldn't they just take the wedding date from you, OP? I wanted to say this so bad when his mom was calling me and saying I was selfish. She tried to say that she had picked out a bed frame and wallpaper for the master bedroom that she knew I would like. That's when I legitimately lost it.